Okay, let's talk about something really frustrating. Have you ever been there? You pick up a new self-help tool. Maybe it's something like EFT or tapping. You hear these amazing stories about it and you're all in. But then it doesn't seem to work for you. And you're just left there wondering, why isn't this working for me? Yeah, it's a super common feeling, so let's get into it.
Right? This is the core question. You hear about these incredible one-minute miracles, and you can't help but think, why isn't that me? It's so easy to feel like you've been left behind, especially when your own progress feels, well, painfully slow, or maybe like it's not happening at all.
And you know what? Let's just be super clear here. That feeling is 100% valid. It is so stressful to be in that place of despair or powerlessness. And then you look over and it feels like everyone else is getting better. It just makes you feel even more stuck. But what if those miracles we hear about aren't really the whole picture?
Okay, so let's talk about this whole one-minute miracle thing. It's time to kind of unpack the myth behind these stories because, as it turns out, they usually describe a very, very specific kind of healing, one that honestly might not apply to your situation at all. I mean, when we're hurting, what do we want? We want a quantum leap, right? We just want to jump from feeling awful all the way to feeling amazing. From illness to health, just like that. And look, that's a completely natural, totally understandable desire for a quick fix.
So, what is a one-minute miracle, really? Well, they're not fake. They're real. But, and this is a big but, they are super specific. They almost always happen when someone is dealing with one single, isolated, high-intensity trauma. You know, a practitioner will guide them through tapping on every little piece of that one memory, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, until that emotional charge is just gone.
But what if that's not your story? What if your issue isn't just one single event? What if it's way more complicated than that? This is where a really great metaphor comes in that helps make sense of all this.
So think of it like this. That one-minute miracle, that's like clearing a single tree that's fallen across your path. It's an obvious target, you can see it, you can deal with it. But for so many of us, it's not a single tree. It's a whole tangled forest. It's a lifetime of maybe growing up in a damaged vibration with all these deep, tangled up roots and patterns. And you just can't clear an entire forest in 60 seconds.
And living in that tangled forest for years, well, it creates some really deep patterns, doesn't it? It can leave you feeling totally powerless. Maybe you swing back and forth between being passive and then suddenly aggressive. There's this constant nagging feeling that you just don't have any choices. This isn't surface-level stuff. We're talking about core beliefs that have been wired into your system over a lifetime. Okay, so if we're stuck in this forest, why is it so darn hard to find the path out on our own? Well, it turns out we have some major blind spots when it comes to looking at our own stuff.
I love this idea. You can't be doctor and patient at the same time without some confusion. And it's so true. It's almost impossible to be objective about ourselves. The real problem is we just can't see our own energy clearly. And the very thing that's blocking you, that hidden belief or that emotion you buried, well, your own mind is often the thing keeping it hidden, usually as a way to try and protect you.
So getting to the real root of the problem is all about digging. Let's take an example. Someone might start with some frustrating physical symptom, right? But as they start to dig a little deeper, maybe they uncover this hidden feeling of guilt. Like, maybe they feel guilty that a friend is sick, but they're healthy. Suddenly, that guilt, that becomes the real target. And once you address that root, the physical stuff can often just release.
Okay, so if the one-minute cure is pretty much a myth for most of us dealing with complex stuff, then what is the goal? What should we be aiming for? Well, it's time to redefine what a miracle actually is, because the real win is so much more powerful.
This is it. This is the big shift in thinking. The real miracle isn't some instant complete cure. The miracle is that moment, that single moment you take a conscious step forward and you feel hope come back. It's that first tiny spark of light when you've been in the dark.
And listen, this isn't just some fluffy, nice idea. It's a real, physical feeling. It's that experience of taking something painful, something you were convinced would hurt you forever, and bringing even a tiny bit of relief to it, right now, in this moment. That feeling, that's the miracle. What it all boils down to is this. Empowerment is the miracle. It's that moment you realize you have a tool that taps into your own energy, your own mind, your own intention to actually make a change. The power isn't somewhere out there. It's already inside you. So what does that first little miracle feel like? It's that aha moment. It's the first time you use a tool like tapping and you think, whoa, it doesn't have to be this bad. It's feeling that light come back into your eyes.
It's seeing that, hey, maybe there is a new path possible. It's just knowing that you have something in your back pocket that's there for you.
All right, so with this new idea of what a miracle is, we can finally stop chasing that impossible quantum leap, and we can start embracing the process for what it is, a journey.
You know what it's like? It's kind of like that old board game Chutes and Ladders. Seriously. Some days, you're climbing up those ladders, feeling great, your energy is high, and then, wham, you hit a trigger and you go down a chute. But here's the thing, that's not failing, that's just part of the game. The real key is knowing you have a tool, like tapping, to help you get back on the board and start climbing again.
So this means we have to completely shift our goal. The old goal was this all-or-nothing quantum leap to zero pain. The new goal? Just taking the next step toward feeling a little bit better. We stop chasing some mythical instant cure, and instead, we just start following that feeling of relief, wherever it leads us, one small step at a time.
And that's why practicing consistently is such a game changer. Think of it this way. Every time you tap, even when you're feeling pretty good, you're putting energetic money in the bank. You're building up this resilience, this foundation, so you're not just scrambling for a tool when a crisis hits. You're already prepared.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The goal isn't a quantum leap across some giant canyon. It's not. It's about taking the next step. Healing is like building a bridge, one single plank at a time. All you ever have to focus on is that one next step that feels just a little bit better.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. What if all that frustration, that disappointment of not getting an instant fix, was actually hiding a much bigger gift? What if the most precious miracle isn't about getting to the finish line, but just knowing, maybe for the very first time, that there is a path forward?